everyone, I'm Isabel and thank you for coming. Alright, so now imagine with me, you're on a long car ride, or you're looking throughout the window and you see cell phone towers. And you probably aren't thinking about how they do what they do, or if they're hurting you, but there's actually more to them than being a bird's our favorite place to hang out. Alright, so now in this speech, I'm going to talk about how cell phone towers, especially 5G towers, are a public health hazard and are controversial. And I'll be doing this by going over what is a 5G cell phone tower, why cell phone towers are a public health hazard, why 5G towers are dangerous, and then the rising controversies about them. Alright, so now, what is a 5G cell phone tower? So Verizon says that they are ultra-fast speeds, ultra-low latency, and massive capacity, and that theirs deliver speeds 10 times the competitors. But this doesn't actually say what they are, but they are cell phone towers that are 10 times faster than 4G cell phone towers, and they have higher frequencies, which means that they are slower. But 5G doesn't actually mean anything. It's just the next evolution, like 3G, 4G, 5G. So now, we all know now what a 5G cell phone tower is, but we need to know more about cell phone towers in general. So now, secondly, most of the public doesn't know this, but cell phone towers are historically been a public health hazard. Alright, so now here's a chart of cell phone use from the beginning of like the 2010s, like late 2010s, and spiking at 273 million. And then connections, which are the connections to the cell phone towers, and that is 400 million, which means that there are a lot of connections, and these cell phone towers are in great use. So now, cell phone towers give off radiation in order to work, but 1 in 10 cell phone towers actually are neglected and do not fit regulations, so then they have a safe amount of radiation. And the type of radiation that cell phone towers give off, it doesn't directly affect your DNA, but it is in the same category as UV rays, gamma rays, and X-rays, which have been linked to cancer according to the American Cancer Society. And UC Berkeley actually did a study on radiation and its effects. And in the US, we have a 1 to 200 and a 1 to 250% chance of having a lifelong risk of glioma, a brain cancer, due to the towers. So now that slide is going to be some more effects of what it has, like dizziness, it'll affect your sleep, you'll get earaches, headaches, lots of pain, and that the US actually has pretty lax rules about how much radiation we can be exposed to compared to other countries like China, who has a very small amount of what we allow. And that children actually absorb 2 times the amount of radiation as adults. And we actually see this play out in reality, because in the Weston Elementary School in California, they placed a cell phone tower on the premises, and the district was paid $2,000 a month by Sprint to keep it there. And then 4 kids got cancer. Now, 1 kid having cancer is concerning, but 4 kids from all the same school getting cancer, that's suspect. And all these cancers were environmentally caused. And that was just a 5G tower, but it wasn't a regular 5G tower, but actually a stronger wireless one. So now that we discussed regular cell phone towers, let's move back to 5G towers. So now, thirdly, our 5G towers, cell phone towers, are a public health hazard for 2 main reasons that I previously discussed. So now 5G cell phone towers have ultra high frequencies. 10 times higher than 4G. And then 3G and 4G on a scale of frequencies have been from 1 to 6. Now, that's not a lot. Oh, but when you throw in 5Gs on that same scale, they go up to 300. That's still all the same radiation, but just that much more still hitting your body. And then the second reason is that high frequencies can't travel as fast. And so you need a lot more towers, but not just 5G towers, but you actually need 3G and 4G towers and other types of towers with the 5G towers to compensate for all that slow travel. So now you have all these extra towers, in this big cluster, but this isn't, just a large cluster, but you need these clusters for every few houses just to get faster speeds. So then, so you're having all that radiation hit your body at the same time, and you could be getting it from multiple little clusters. And that's scientifically a recipe for disaster. So now, 5G has caused a stir, especially with current events. So now, 5G cell phone towers have caused lots of controversies and now conspiracies, especially with COVID-19. Now, people have been making conspiracies about the current pandemic and how they made it in a lab, or these people made it as a weapon. People did whatever. And then you had all this controversy with 5G towers, people thinking that it was caused for population control, that it's cause in infertility, that our cell phone towers in general are meant to hurt you, because people who live near them have all these adverse health effects. So now the two are being linked. And there is actually a viral video of a doctor where he was frantically pleading with you to listen to him. And he was talking about how at his hospital in New York, they were having all these corona patients come in, and they weren't actually corona patients. They were being misdiagnosed, and they actually had severe radiation poisoning due to the new 5G towers put in New York. But, but that doesn't make as much sense. Just like places with the biggest outbreaks of the pandemic are also being linked to 5G towers. But that doesn't make sense when you have places like Iran who have no 5G cell phone towers but are having one of the biggest outbreaks. You'll be like, but what about Wuhan? It's like Wuhan was just rolling them out, and then that's where the pandemic started, but there is no correlation. You can't have both be true. It's a spurious correlation. And multiple other doctors have also come out and said, it's just blatantly not true. And that the towers are more linked to cancer versus COVID. Now, in conclusion, we talked about how cell phone towers and 5G towers especially are a public health hazard and controversial. And we went over what a 5G cell phone tower is, why cell phone towers are historically a hazard, why 5G towers are dangerous, and then the raising our controversies about them. So thank you for listening to me or looking like you are.